difference between homophobia and racism, which I always get on there. It's always black men who want to debate with me, and then when I make the point using intelligent jargon, intelligent language, then they want to say, oh, we weren't really dealing with a definition here. Let's talk about something else.
Right.
Homophobia is a psychological disorder. Phobia is a psychological disorder. Phobia implies an irrational fear. It requires psychological counseling. Something is psychologically wrong with you. Racism, on the other hand, something that got us lynched, killed, murdered by all other means, segregated out of our ability to spend money on ourselves, separated, miseducated, diseducated, undereducated, trapped. That is only judged as a personality flaw, where because I don't know somebody black, then, you know, I'm sort of a little bit different. As soon as I get to know somebody black, I'll lose that. So racism is seen terminologically as something that's less harmful than homophobia. Those are the definitions that we're playing with. We're not playing with idiots here. If they were idiots, they wouldn't be dominating this planet. We're not playing with stupid people. We're playing with people who know what they're doing. And they protect their culture with their lives. And what they do is they recruit other people to protect their culture as if it's their own. Bobby Wright called that menticide.
Right.
You scoop out what is theirs and you put in what's yours. And then they think, talk, walk, act as if they are you, even though you know better. Just like turning this world into a homosexual thing so Europeans can continue their global orgy, where you will have people who are not homosexual by nature playing homosexual games while Europeans have a field day because they know who they are and they get to play with you too. Gives them a larger playing field. Homosexual is predatory. One very interesting statistic deals with that in terms of pedophilia. Pedophiles, well, let's start at the beginning of this. There are over 4 million official pedophiles in this country today. Over 4 million, that's the official number from the U.S. Department of Labor. Over 4 million pedophiles in this country today. We can get statistics on black male in prison too. But this is important just in general because most of these folks are white. 4 million. Now, we did some statistics, and since homosexuality is pedophilic in European culture, and they are returning to their roots publicly, and they're taking us with us, we know that that was the start. So that's what we're going to. That's why the homosexual community is trying to distance itself from the term pedophilia so much right now, because they don't want people to see where they're going. Like my wife always says, they have us laughing at stuff before they take us there. We think this is funny. We think that Madeira is funny. We're going to be really laughing at our men soon, because these boys are going to grow up to be Madeiras. Because there's nothing wrong with that, according to the definition. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'll say now, I'm glad to see that the individual who was having major problems with what I was saying has left. That means we're still in good company. That's really disgusting. If you don't want to hear what I have to say, don't come. I don't go where you're at. Don't come where I'm at. It don't work on me. They tried that at Morehouse when I was giving my lectures on black manhood, and they would always send some female white faculty in there. That got me going. Pedophiles usually abuse 30 to 60 children by the first time they are caught. These are government statistics. And you know that means they're undercounts. Pedophiles usually abuse 30 to 60 children by the first time they are caught. Their scientists say that those people who become homosexual are usually homosexual because they were sexually assaulted by the same sex at a younger age. So they are creating an army. In the lifetime of a pedophile, somewhere between 70 and 380 victims. Between 70 and 380 victims, and it spreads like a virus. It's an exponential growth. It's not growth. It's not additive. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 1 equals 2 equals 4 equals 8. It grows exponentially. These individuals are predators. Sex is not for procreation. Sex is for recreation. So you always, in the Western sense of individuals and always trying to find something new so that you can find something different, so that your life can light up, so that you can be emotionally fulfilled. You always have to find something new. That's why you got to have a new girlfriend every week. That's why you got to go through 3, 4, 5, 6 women in a week, because you always got to have something new, something different. It's a game. And the pedophiles in the West are no different than the heterosexuals in the West. It's no different. Male or female, it doesn't make a difference who's the hoe. But to look at the statistics and know this growth, 30 to 60 or 7 to 380 in your lifetime, and we got to understand this like we understand somebody who robs for a living. If all I do is rob, I never hold a job, but I have a car, I got a house, got my condo, what have you, I got clothes, I go to the club, I do everything everybody else does, but I don't work a job, I rob people. I don't just rob one person. I have to continuously rob for the rest of my life to maintain my income. Rapists don't rape one person and stop. It becomes an avocation or a vocation. It becomes a major part of what you do. Pedophiles don't find their one true love and stay with them forever. They didn't do that in Greece. And that was the homosexual pedophile capital of history. They didn't stop at one. Why we buy these lies, I have no idea. And we buy it from people who have no proof. We accept that they said it because they are the authority. What did Marimba Ali say? Europeans have to have the absolute ultimate truth. They have to be the bearers of that. And if you're in charge, you are the bearer of that. Most of us still see them as gods. They see themselves as gods. God-vying. And when you have other people look at you like that, then your definitions become their definitions one more time. They follow you. You are the authority. Their women are the most beautiful. Once the line broke down, brothers ran to white girls like they had not been. And we have all these excuses. And I have a book called Excuses to Discuss Them, but there's one in particular that a black sociologist came with, had to do with rarity. The reason why black men are chasing white women is because white women are so rare. Like a diamond costs more because it's rarer, it's more difficult to find. Or antique car is more desirable because it's rare, because it's more hard to find. And I said, well, something's really wrong with that logic, because in the countries where black males are chasing white women, white folks are the majority. In the countries where white women are the minority, they ain't being chased by us. But we'll use those arguments as the truth. He's a silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids. The crux of it was over 200,000 of our black males are being sodomized in prison every year. The numbers we calculated showed how many years it would take if this exponential process continued. What we forget about is that effeminized males are the ones who are most likely to be let out of prison on parole. Not only because they are, quote unquote, the best behaved, but because Europeans know what they are doing. They know what they're letting back out into the community. It's not accidental. It's not accidental that sodomy in the prison hasn't been stopped. We can stop anything we want to. We can't say that it's impossible to stop that. It's intentional. And when these black males, not all of them, but enough, come out of prison with that mentality, then they're going to search out prey. I saw this very interesting movie, which a lot of young folks told me they had already seen, about this a guy who ended up in prison. He was an artist. He got killed in prison, and at the end of the program, they showed his artwork. His best friend had been in prison for a while before he arrived. I'm assuming this was his best friend because I caught the movie sort of late. And the guy who was the star, he was sad or was emotionally distressed about something in the movie, and his friend came over and put his arm around him to hug him, and then he attempted to kiss him. And the guy pushed him away. What are you doing? And this guy, the guy who he had pushed away, he said something I hadn't even thought about. Because he got upset, tears, rolling down his face. He said, what do you expect me to do? I've never known a woman. This is all I've ever known. This is my, definition. What do you expect? And I'm sitting there thinking, you have thousands and thousands of brothers who have never known a woman, who've never known. And then we got the contradictions of black males in prison when they see the boys come in. This sister started a program in Atlanta, and it was a statement about her because she was hurt. She started a program that was supposed to help the boy who had shot and killed her son, because she recognized in dealing with the prison system that the older guys saw the boys who came in the prison system as girls. So her program was to attempt to keep these boys out of the main population until they were 18 or 21, I forget which one, but now they can go in the main prison population in Georgia, depending upon the sentence, is 16 or 17. But when these guys come in, that's what they see these as. So you have this process of turning guys out. Most guys today aren't afraid to go to prison because they got to stay in there for 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 years. They're afraid to go to prison because they don't want to get turned out. They don't want to get turned out. I communicate every month with 33 brothers who are locked up in the Georgia system, the DC system, and the California system. 3 of them on death row. And they tell me stuff that you wouldn't believe. And I have to believe it because the same stories are coming from brothers in different places and they don't know each other. They're telling me about what female prison guards who have now come to dominate the prison system, black females, are acceptive of, are receptive to, egging on and not understanding when brothers won't participate in that insanity. But I don't look at them as different because they were brought up in the same situation or caught up in that insanity there. Whenever you're caught up in an unnatural situation for humans, which is the main reason why Africans did not have prisons, just like there's no record of homosexuality in traditional African society, there was never a prison in traditional African society. There was no such word as orphan in traditional African society. There was no such word as stepmom, stepdad, because everybody was your father, everybody who was your mother, who was an adult. So they didn't have words. It was not a concept. Whenever there's something existing in your society, there's a word for you. You don't say that's a No, there's a word for everything that exists in your society. And if there's no word for it, that means that it didn't exist. That's enough evidence for me. So we didn't have prisons because we understood that took the person out of society. It was a dehumanizing. It killed your spirit, which is what the prison systems are designed here for us. They're designed to break the black man. They've tried everything else and haven't broken our spirit. This is the last effort. To me, when I try to help students understand the slave mentality of some Negroes and lost souls, and there's a difference. Negroes are intentional in their hatred and an attempt to destroy Africans. Lost souls are just trying to maintain the status quo and stay out of being fired upon because they happen to be around Africans. I went fishing with a friend, and we really went to have a conversation, so we weren't really focused on fishing. And he caught this catfish that we eventually let go, but it was about this long, and he took the string and he cut it. He gave the catfish about 3 feet worth of length, and he put the catfish back in the water, and he took a stick, and he about this long, and he put it in the ground. He tied the string around the pole. And the catfish was struggling for a while. It's like I thought he was going to rip the hook through his jaw. He was struggling back and forth, and about 20 minutes, half an hour later, was struggling less, and within 40, 45 minutes, the catfish was just laying there still. So the brother said to me, about an hour later, we were talking, he said, watch this. He took the stick off the ground. 2 hours later, the catfish was still right there. It is sat right there, didn't move. He had to hit the water to scare the fish to make it realize that it was free. Because it had stopped struggling. It had stopped trying. It had become vanquished. It had accepted its position. Didn't care whether it was eaten or not. It was just there. I see a lot of us on that hook. I see a lot of us on that hook. But that doesn't discourage me, because I know the revolutions are always led by a few. Right. And most of us are carrying the load of 1,000 Africans anyway. A few more won't hurt.